this out for the Vegan Organic Network, yeah. Come on. It's a wildlife emergency. They're poisoning the water and they're cutting down trees. It's a wildlife emergency. Too much land used for animal feed. It's a wildlife emergency. Time to stand up like Gandhi G. It's a wildlife emergency.
Vegan organic, set the planet free.
It's a farm animal emergency. So much slaughter people never see. It's a farm animal emergency. So much suffering people never see. It's a farm animal emergency. Time to be kind like Gandhi G. It's a farm animal emergency.
Vegan organic, set the planet free.
Come on, giving it up for fun, yeah. Giving it up for fun, yeah. Giving it up for fun now, yeah. Come on.
Wow, what a way to start the show. Our end of year special. Welcome everyone to Veganic Gardeners Question Time. I am your host, Giles Bryant. I am super pleased to be with you, sharing such a positive message. And what is that message? Well, it is that veganic can help heal the planet. Yes, it can indeed. Do you know there's never been a time in the whole history of the earth when it's more important that we look at how we are growing our food? There's never been a time. Never been a time. And veganic is local, it's sustainable, it's good for us, it's good for the animals, it's good for the planet itself. Now, I ask you a question. Do you want clean rivers? Do you want clean oceans? Do you want healthy soil and healthy food for everyone? Well, it is possible with veganic growing, whether on a small scale, if you've got a window box, or a garden, or a bigger scale, like you've got an allotment or a forest garden, or even on a farm. All around the world, veganic growing is happening. And if you want to connect to that, you know, a great way to do it is the Von map, a brainwave of the maestro, Dan Graham, the head of the Vegan Organic Charity. So do please get on the Von map. If you're a veganic grower, if you grow without chemical or animal inputs, or if you just want to support this way of growing, there we go, vonmap.org. You can, of course, always follow the links on the brilliant website of the Vegan Organic Network, which is veganorganic.net. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic show for you today with amazing questions and awesome panelists. But I just want to start off because one of our panelists, one of my favorite panelists, by the way, Ellen Mary, unfortunately, she's not feeling very well. So we're sending you, Ellen Mary, we're sending you the healing vibes. And we've got some advice about how to help you be healthy this winter and help all of our listeners and viewers out there as well. Well, that's enough about me. I tell you what, let's introduce our wonderful, our incredible, some of my favorite people in the whole world, experts of growing veganically. Let's introduce some of the panel. I'm going to start with a lady very dear to my heart. It is indeed Juliette Bryant. Juliette Bryant. Wow, what can we say about Juliette Bryant? She is the most beautiful woman in the world, I would suggest. She's a superfood alchemist. She's a nutritionist. She's an earth wisdom mentor. She's a wonderful woman. She's a trustee of the Vegan Organic Network. And she's doing so much to help the world. Juliette, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yes, well done for being on Veganic Gardeners Question Time. Now, Juliette, you have had a special mission with the Vegan Organic Network this year because you are piloting an amazing project for the Growing Nature Academy, which is part of VON. And you've been doing something called the Growing Nature Clubs in one of the local schools, inspiring the staff, inspiring the parents, and most of all, inspiring the children. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. We started last year really, and it's moved into this year. And we've Von and Vine sponsored a polytunnel, and we've been doing amazing activities. We created our own apple juice. We've been growing produce. We've been making natural things. So for Christmas, they made natural Christmas decorations. We've been making and drying herbs, learning how to make traditional remedies for coughs and colds, making our own apple cider vinegar. It's been absolutely incredible, learning about soil health, how to make compost, and why it's important to grow without animal input and without chemical input. And it's amazing seeing the light bulbs spark with the children.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful work that you're doing there, Juliette. And I'd just like to say thank you to the Vegan Organic Network for sponsoring this project. It really is changing lives. It really is changing lives. It's a very wonderful thing. Now, Juliet, I'm not going to ask every panelist this, and it can be about anything. It can be about the garden or anything. But just because this is the end of year special, so we're vibing. I got my hat. It's not a bandage. If you're watching this, it's not a bandage, as some people said. It's actually a hat. I'm doing my bit. Highlight of the year, Juliet, or a highlight of your year.
So related to gardening, a highlight.
No, anything. And it can be about anything.
Oh, well, I have to say, I was very blessed to go to Peru in April, and that has definitely been a highlight. And one of the things that was so amazing was seeing the different things growing there that I've worked with, superfoods. That was quite remarkable. But on the growing front, one of the highlights were the pumpkins that we grew this year were absolutely incredible. That's definitely been a highlight for me.
Wonderful. Well, Juliet, we're looking forward to hearing some of your wisdom later on. Well, Maestro, thank you. The next panelist is an old friend of mine and is really one of the leading permaculture experts and teachers in the UK. He's a fantastic man. He's just had a brilliant new book come out, which I'm just going to show you here. Look. I bought it for Christmas, and I'm just trying not to read it because it just looks so amazing. Graham Burnett he's written many books. He runs permaculture design courses and also vegan permaculture design, which is absolutely amazing. His website is spiralseed.co.uk. He's a top man. Graham, are you there?
Hello.
Here he is.
Yes,
He's coming in. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, good to see you, Giles. Good to see you.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see you. It's wonderful to connect with people who, people that I've known for decades, and we're still going, and we're still going strong. And I would say stronger
20 years,
than ever.
30 years, 20 years, 30 years, something like that. Yeah, long.
But
that's
long
not
time,
because we're not that old. So how could that
be?
Of course,
exactly. That's what I tell myself every day. How has it happened? So how has 2025 been for you, my friend?
Yeah, mixed, like for everybody, bit of a mixed bag. But let's focus on the positives. There's been some really good stuff happening. I've run 2 successful permaculture design courses at Organically, who are a wonderful site up in northeast London, doing not only food growing, they're kind of veganic, but they're doing a lot of that. They're mainly around the work they're doing with communities and stuff like that. So yeah, been a couple of very successful courses with them, and had published a book just about this year. I think it actually came out December 24th. That's the one. So yeah, it's been exciting. Getting close to not that many copies left now, so I'm already thinking about doing, reprinting it. So it's been a good year, and a lot of other really cool stuff going on. I've had a couple of exhibitions, and I've been doing some podcasts about stuff that's not really vegan organic related, but around kind of local community stuff and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble.
No, I love your rambling, mate.
It's been a busy year.
No,
so.
It's going to be a busy year because I think one of the things is, Graham, is there's this accumulation. When you've been doing what you've been doing, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and a lot of people I talk to, they know you, or they know of you, and it is wonderful to have you on the show and to share that permaculture knowledge. So I look forward to getting into some of those questions in a minute. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, now our final panelist. I tell you what, last but not least, I love this guy. My old PE teacher, he'd call everyone his favourite. You're my favourite. You're my favourite. And we kind of caught his game. But Pierce is definitely one of my favourites. Brilliant expert. Brilliant author. Love his books. I've got this has been updated. I think it's on its 3rd issue or something. How to store your garden produce. The key to self-sufficiency. Who doesn't want a bit of that? But not just that. He's a wildlife filmmaker. He set up Wild Eye, the International School of Filmmaking, and he's author of many books. And we're going to get into some of that later. Keen grower and a great promoter of the veganic way. Pierce, are you there?
I am here. Yes. Hello.
Yes, there you go. I love the hat, Pierce. Getting in the
Yeah,
spirit at the end of year.
I'm trying to grow the beard a bit longer as well, so I can do my Santa act next week.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Well done you for that. Absolutely. So, Piers, let's just, what's been the highlight or a highlight of your year, my friend?
Well, one of my highlights this year is I've been volunteering for an organisation called Plot 22, which is a community allotment in Hove near Brighton. And they have different groups of people come in on different days to do various activities. And the day I go is when we work with a group of people with dementia. So we have different activities that we do each time. So some of it might be connected to growing food on the allotment, or some of it might be something wildlife related, or doing some sort of craft thing. So, for example, last week we were making Christmas decorations out of greenery that we'd collect, and it's been really fulfilling, both being engaged with a community allotment, but also working with these people. And it's one of those things which makes you realize that that sort of volunteering is actually just as good for the volunteers and our mental health as the people we're working with. So yeah, that's been a highlight this year.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful message. Well, Piers, we look forward to you sharing your wisdom throughout the show. So, Maestro, we have some how to store your garden produce. Yeah, now that is that. I'll look at this. The vegan cook and gardener. That's on my Christmas list that Piers wrote with his beautiful daughter, and is a fantastic guide. I tell you what, we've got some amazing authors. Amazing books that these panelists have written. So do go to your website. It's pierswarren.co.uk and it was julietbryant.com. So, guys, we're going to get into this. Is my warm-up question. Okay, now this is one for me. All right. So we'll go with you ladies first, Juliet. Just maybe a short answer, 30 seconds. Why is veganic growing important to you?
So I think for me, veganic growing is so important because it's about integrity of the earth. I'm very much into connecting into the wisdom of the earth, and for me, veganic is the way it's always been. So it's going back to nature, it's going back to the roots of who we are, without putting chemicals into the soil, without disrupting animals, without using and abusing our planet. So that's why veganic is so important for me, because it's a holistic system that goes back to our roots.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, Graham, in your fantastic book, though I have not read it because I'm saving myself for Christmas Day, a beautiful colour, and it's articles that you wrote for the Idler, amazing magazine. You know, the stuff those people are doing is revolutionary. I love the Idler stuff. And I opened it, and you know, sometimes you open a book on a page and it was like, it said like, go veganic. So, Graham, from your perspective, my friend, why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, God, I realised actually, and I think that article you're talking about actually marked 40 years for me being vegan, veganic gardener, and it was all very kind of new then, and all we had was a little pamphlet by Kathleen Janaway. It was about 30 pages or something, and that was our little kind of veganic Bible at the time. But yeah, for me, why it's important. It's great that there's this kind of upsurge in kind of veganism and plant-based diets and stuff like that, and it's great that you can get a Greg's sausage roll, whatever it is, just when you're out and about. But it's not really, that food is still part of the industrial kind of globalized food production system. We're not really getting to the heart of our food production systems. And yeah, so for me, veganic growing is about, getting to the heart of sustainable or regenerative food production for everybody. And I guess we're kind of pioneers, there's just a few of us around at the moment, but it's growing, there's more and more. You've got the vegan organic map that you brought up a few moments ago, and there's more and more little spots appearing on that. and in the US and other parts of the world, little projects are starting up and they're becoming bigger projects. So yeah, it's the way forward, I think.
Well
Was that
done for
90
being
seconds? Probably more.
well, no, that was absolutely fantastic. Well done for being a pioneer. And here we go. Look, go veganic. And that was actually when I opened the book, that was the first page that came. So, and it just shows that you can do it. You can do it on a small scale. You can do it on a big scale. Piers, why is it important to you?
Well, I was given my first vegetable plot when I was about 6 years old, and it was only 2 feet across or something like that at the time. But I was able to grow radishes and lettuces and the easy things. But I really remember at the time that just as I was interested in growing something that you could actually eat, I was just as interested in the wildlife that was around in the garden, and I was looking for toads and slow worms and things like that. And that's never changed. So all the way through my growing life, the wildlife around me in the garden has been just as important as the crops. And the best way to encourage wildlife into your garden is to grow veganically. It's the healthiest way. And because I've always been interested in the idea of self-sufficiency and growing everything you need as well, veganically is the easiest way to be completely self-sufficient in your garden. So as a vegan, why would I do it any other way?
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. Well, great answers, guys. And I think we really need to, send this message out to the world and enlighten people. As you're saying there, Graham, it is, you can get that Greg's vegan sausage roll, no problem. But, how was that actually produced? And there's a deeper thing. And I think people are waking up, and the Vegan Organic Network are pioneering spreading this message. So thanks to Von. So Maestro, please, I think we're going to go in at question 2, because that was just my warm-up one for one. So question 2, if we may. Here we go. It's David in Braintree, friend of the show. What was your biggest gardening failure this year? And what are you going to do to change it next year? What are you going to do to put it right? Piers, did you have any failures this year?
Yeah, of course. Every year.
Yeah. So what was your biggest one?
And
David wants to know.
That's how you learn, isn't it? By having failures. Anyway, my worst one this year was aubergines. Didn't get a single aubergine. I actually I didn't plant seeds early in the year, which I should have done. But a bit later in the year, I did find some small aubergine plants for sale, so I got some of those. But it was already a bit late on in the year for growing aubergines, and they weren't very big. And although it grew into a fair-sized plant in my greenhouse, by the time it was that size, it was quite late in the season. And unfortunately, these days, we have far fewer insects around, and especially inside the greenhouse. So plants being pollinated inside the greenhouse is increasingly difficult to rely on that. And I didn't use my little paintbrush to pollinate the aubergine flowers. And sure enough, one by one, the flowers just fell off and I had no fruits at all. So next year, I'll be sowing the seeds early in the year, like February, in a heated propagator to get them going quickly. And when the time comes, I'll be there with my paintbrush to pollinate them.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. I think that's so true, isn't it? Failure is one of our greatest teachers. So, Graham, David from Braintree, he wants to know, did you have a big failure? And what might you do to correct it?
Well, I think I'm with yourself and Piers that there's no such thing as failure as such. It's all a learning opportunity. I'll have to be honest, I off the ball rather a lot with the allotment this year because of personal circumstances, and not really. So I didn't really grow very much at all, to be honest. But yeah, I mean that's just the way it's been this year for me. I think this saying this thing about when it's all a learning opportunity and it's all very zen and there's taking that away as a yield, but there is still that time when when you've got like a seed tray of tomatoes and they're coming up and they've got the 2 little leaves And then the next time you come, like a snail has been through
Yeah,
there and eaten
yeah.
every single one. And they just leave that little stalk sticking up like that, you know, like up yours, you know, like. And so I find my Zen composure does kind of like falter a little bit, you know, at those sort of moments. But yeah, but then you kind of reflect, and it's okay. And you know, there's always next year. That would always be my takeaway.
Beautiful. There is always next year, and thank God, you know, we've got shops with food. Juliet Bryant, did you have a failure, and what are you going to do? David from Braintree, friend of the show, he wants to know. He wants to talk about failure.
So it was interesting. Last year we had a lot of failures. Our cucumbers, our courgettes, we really struggled. They were eaten, as Graham said, the slugs devoured them last year. And this year we had so many amazing crops. You know, we did really, really well. But the strawberries didn't do so well. And that was partially because of the weather. It was very, very dry. And also partially because our son loves football and was belting the ball into the strawberry patch over and over again. So this year we've moved the goal to the other side. So hopefully the strawberries will survive. But, you know, I was in India recently at a beautiful organic spice farm called Tanshika. And it was very interesting there because, you know, they grow in a permaculture style. And when you talk to them, you know, so often one crop has a bad year, but something else does really well. And I think that's the joy of growing in a multi kind of tiered system where you do it following the veganic principles, but also the permaculture principles, so that you have that ability that if one crop doesn't do so well, at least you've got another one that will do incredibly. Like cucumbers for us this year were very good.
Yeah, that's a good thing, isn't it? It's growing that diversity, that biodiversity, like you find in a forest, in the forest garden, and then you can sort it. Okay, Maestro, next question, please. Okay, it's Betsy. What produce are you most pleased that you've stored, and what are you going to do with it? So, Graham, if you've had a bit of a year off the allotment, I don't know if you've been growing, so that's, you know, but Pierce, what have you stored? I mean, you've literally written the book on it, my friend. What you're most pleased that you've gone, oh, I've got some of this.
Well, this year, one that worked really well was shallots, and I grew them at the end of a raised bed. It wasn't even a very big area, maybe 1 meter squared, with I don't know, a dozen or so shallot plants. But they did so well, and shallots store really well as well. They store best of all of the onions, really, and I've still got plenty of those. I always grow plenty of borlotti beans so that I can dry those and use them right the way through until the next season. But in terms of taste, my favorite thing has been quince jelly, which is just delicious.
Oh, love that. And if you do want any more advice about how to store your garden produce, plug, go piercewarren.co.uk or wherever you might get your, there we go, boom. So Graham, what do you've not grown a lot this year, but Jim, you know, is there something that you go, oh, I'm gonna store some of them?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too exciting really, just like your onions, kind of potatoes, stuff like that. I am pleased to say that in our back garden, our apples did really well. We've got a very small urban back garden. It's only like about 25 foot by 17 foot, but we've got like 5 or 6 small apple trees. And even though things got a bit neglected, the apples just kind of get on with it anyway. And we're still, you know, I think they started producing late July, probably, you know, the first windfalls that you can kind of pick and make it. So, you know, they're a little bit sour for eating, but you can still make them into chutney and stuff like that. So from July, and I think we're just starting to run out of apples now. So they've been enough to keep us going, you know, through, you know, more than half the year, I'd say. So I'm quite pleased with that. And it's very low effort. All I have to do is go and pick them one afternoon, you know. So, yeah. So apples have done well.
Amazing.
And currants, black currants and red currants, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so so Mrs. Bryan, how about you? What's been your favourite thing that you've stored?
Well, I think, this year, as part of the Growing Nature program that we were doing, we got all of the local community to bring apples to the primary school. And I got in touch with the local press, and they pressed all the apples. So 700 kilos of apples. And we've got hundreds of bottles of apple juice, which we've been selling to put the funds back into the school. And that apple juice, I've had so many people tell me it's the best apple juice they've ever had. And it tastes incredible. And I feel like it's the community spirit that people are drinking when they have it, because everyone came together. So that definitely has got to be one of my biggest celebrations. But also, for me, I love herbs. So we grow lots and lots of herbs here. So drying those herbs, making tinctures. I've got a beautiful winter remedy, which is elderberries, rose hips, sloes, sage, rosemary, thyme, oregano. So that's really beautiful. And been having that to keep the coughs and colds away. So those two are probably my favorite things.
Brilliant. And that last one, I think we need to send the recipe to Ellen Mary.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. I've used Piers book a lot this year and also made quince jelly. There we go. Bag washer. Keep washing that. Oh, here we go. Oh, there are different types of edible quinces. Been looking for the small one, which is very fragrant. I only see the big ones in the shops. Anyone just quickly there?
Yeah, there are different varieties in the same way that we have lots of different varieties of apples. There are different varieties of quinces which come in different sizes and flavors. So yeah, look out for the one you want.
Look out for the one you want indeed. Look, here is the apple juice, everyone. I'm just holding it up. The Clare Community Apple Juice. What was it, 500 odd, 600 odd bottles?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was 500.
It was a lot, wasn't it? And and even though it's pasteurized, and we could say, okay, so that's not the healthiest thing, it is a brilliant idea, and people love it. But it gives it a long life. And there's still health benefits in that bottle. And if we would have pressed it fresh, we've got 3 days, right? So that was a brilliant thing. Hold on a minute. I got reached down. This is it for me. She mentioned the pumpkins. And do you know what abundance is? I had a mate come round, and he's he's a lovely guy, old school friend, finance guy. I took him to my compost bin. I say, you see that there? I say, that's my pension. And then I showed him all me pumpkins, and we've got 2 Christmas trees because we're very posh. And under one of our Christmas trees is filled with pumpkins. Now, what am I going to do with that? Well, we've got people coming around for the solstice. I'm going to make a big stew. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, Maestro, here we going. Now, we've had some questions in today, which is a little bit more unusual, but when we put the thing out and we say, look, these are the guests, these are the experts coming on. Some people are like, well, I need to ask that guy a question. I think we've got one coming up for you, Piers. Maestro, please. Here we go. Yeah, for Piers. I've seen you've written a book all about the many uses of nettles. Actually, Donna, it's 101 uses. Okay, just give us some favourites, Piers. Just give us 3 favourites, maybe, or however many you want.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll give you 3. This is the book here, and you might expect me to talk about nettle tea or nettle soup or something like that, which very common, and a lot of people like them. But the 3 I'm going to mention is, number 1 is making a nettle fertilizer for plants. So just get a bucket, cram it full of nettle leaves, fill it up with water, leave it at the bottom of the garden for a couple of weeks, and it'll start to ferment. And you can do the same thing with comfrey, of course. With the nettle version, it produces a liquid that's very high in nitrogen. So after it's finished the fermenting, you just decant it into another bucket, straining out the nettle stalks, and then dilute it 1 part to 10 of water. And then you can use that to feed your plants. So it's especially good early in the season because it's got lots of nitrogen to get the plants growing strong. So you can use that in pots, in your raised beds, and for houseplants as well. That's number 1. Number 2 is it's just leaving a patch of it in your garden is a brilliant food source for some of our favorite butterflies and moths. So some of the big common ones like red admiral, common, small tortoiseshell, peacock, their caterpillars all have to eat nettles to go through their life cycle. So, and moths as well, like the burnished brass moth, which is one of our most beautiful moths. The young live on the nettles. So that's reason number 2. And number 3, which is a slightly more unusual one, is use as a pain relief for arthritis. Now, arthritis runs in my family, unfortunately, and I feel it sometimes. And the way it works is that if you have part of your body, let's say your knuckles, that are suffering from arthritis, excuse me, if you brush a nettle over them so that it stings the area, what happens is the serotonins and the histamines in the nettle sting. They're neurotransmitters, and they send messages to the brain, which go to your nerve endings, which will reduce the sensation of pain from the arthritis. And in fact, this was discovered by the Romans when they came here 2,000 years ago. And of course, they came from a nice warm climate to our cold winters. They were suffering from arthritis, and they used to thrash each other with nettles to try and reduce that pain. Of course, the downside is you get the pain from the nettle sting as well. So you have to work out for yourself which pain is worse. But yeah, worth a try anyway.
Brilliant. And I haven't yet got a copy of that book, but I can't wait for it because we love nettles. Absolutely love nettles. Okay, Maestro, please, the next question. Do you have a supply of minimum weight of apples to the press? Oh, did you have to supply? Yes, we did. We had to supply a minimum.
No,
there was
no minimum. So we were very lucky. That's one of the things I checked. There was no minimum, but they said they would like 150 kilos, yes, ideally, but there wasn't a minimum. So we were thinking about doing a second run, but it was a bit hard to organise after the first because it was so successful. So yeah, just look into local suppliers and have a chat with them, because most of them are running apple juice anyway, so they can do, another set of it.
Yes, absolutely. And we need abundance. We do have abundance. We've got abundance. Let's share the abundance. So, Maestro, please. I think the next question may have been for Ellen Mary. Yeah. Now, Ellen Mary has got a beautiful book called The Joy of Gardening. And we wanted to know what Amy was wondering what brings. There it is. Boom. Maestro, you're the man. I've actually got it on my shelf up here. We were wondering what brings Ellen Mary the most joy and pleasure in her garden. Now, she's not here to answer that, but next time that she will be. So just very quickly, my friends, what do you like about, what brings you joy in the garden? Graham, we'll start with you.
I think it is just, as I said, got a very small urban garden. I've got the allotment as well, which kind of got, as I said, a little bit neglected. But it was just a place to chill, really. It's kind of, it's a small urban garden, but it's kind of set up as a forest garden. And it's just nice being out there, the wildlife, the birds. We have blue tits. We have a lot of wildlife in our little patch that maybe, you look on either side and they've just got mowed lawns and just the wildlife we get in our small garden. It's just amazing. Just sitting out there in summer, you might have a bit of music on or something like that, a can of beer, something like that, glass of wine, just chilling in the garden, really, and with the kind of wildlife and the food, of course, obviously the fresh, the berries and stuff like that, which, as I said, carried on producing, even though I wasn't putting much work in this year. So, yeah, I don't know where I'd be without the garden to kind of retreat to. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, it is certainly that retreat. I mean, we are getting, it's like as Joni Mitchell said, isn't it? And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. I just bought 2 copies of the book.
Matthew's Southern Comfort, actually.
Well, yeah, absolutely. What I'd just like to say, everyone, right? So it is spiralseed.co.uk. It is pierswarren.co.uk. It is julietbryant.com. Or you can buy my book, The Mechanics of Manifestation. It is up there somewhere at charlesbryant.com. But please support us. That's all I'm going to say. Support the people doing good in the world and support Von. Sign up for Von. If you got some, the old bunts, give Von a donation. They're healing the world. Juliet, I don't know if I can really ask you this with a straight face, but what brings you most pleasure in the garden?
Lots of things, but I have to say that one of my favorite things is walking around the garden and seeing what's coming up. You know, when you see that new life shooting out of the garden, or you see the first berry arriving, or you find that flower coming onto something, you know, that the small things, those small changes, and watching and noticing over the seasons how the garden changes and what different birds come in at different times. You know, it's such a magical thing. And then sitting out there, Giles made a lovely water feature in our garden, which is surrounded by herbs, and sitting out there, listening to the water and watching the herbs and watching all the beautiful birds. That's my favorite.
Beautiful. Yeah. Maestro, boom! He's found the button on StreamYard once again. Beautiful. Piers, what brings you joy in the garden, my friend, or on the allotment?
Well, I moved here 3.5 years ago, and at the time when I moved in, the garden was just an area of kind of rough ground and grass, because the previous owners had no interest in growing anything at all. So I've gradually been having to create the garden, both for growing food for me and also for the wildlife. So of course, one of the early things I did was to put in a good sized pond. And so one of the things that brings me most joy is seeing when new creatures have moved onto the plot, which tells me that I'm doing it right and tells me that it's more healthy than it was. And so, for example, this year, for the first time, there were a lot of clumps of frog spawn in about February, March time. So just knowing that I'd created something that wasn't there before, that it is now a home to hundreds of baby frogs is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Where was that applause button there, Maestro? I don't know. Graham, I love your book, Make Compost Not Work, and I've given it to 4 friends. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you for that, bag washer. That you are a legend. And do you know what? When people, it's not like we need to sell as many. We don't need to sell millions, but if you get support as an independent author or a musician or whatever, you know, it goes so far, right? And if we just support each other, it's amazing how we can transform our lives. So let's keep on with that. Okay, we got another question, and again, it's just because they knew he was coming on, they wanted to know. Maestro, please. Question for Graham here. It's for Tony, our old friend Tony from Brighton. Graham, you are a legend of permaculture. You are. What was it like writing? What's it been like writing for the Idler magazine? Because this book here, Make Compost Not Work, is a selection of Graham's gardening columns. So what's that been like, mate?
Yeah, well, myself and Tom, who edits and created the Idler, we came together. I think it was 20 years ago. We met in the garden of Dial House. There was a gathering at a place called Dial House, which some might know was the base of the band, the anarchist punk band Crass, in the late 70s and early 80s. Anyway, there was a gathering there, and we were kind of introduced. I think you two folks might find stuff in common, and we kind of hit it off straight away and realised. I think that there can be a misconception about the Idler. It's not about sitting around doing nothing. It's about, it's about a kind of an antidote to the work ethic, if you like, that you just got to kind of work all day, get on and get promoted in your job, and then you get more money, then you can buy more stuff. It's more about creating a living by your enjoyment, I think, is the key to the Idler. And so it's very much about stuff like food growing and DIY stuff and making your own art and making your own music and stuff like that. And Tom invited me to write, would you write a little piece about permaculture for the Idler, which I did. And then this month or the next issue, can you write another one? And I say that was 20 years ago, and I've been producing them, writing them ever since. I really enjoy writing for the Idler because it's so diverse, and you're kind of not some people have said to me, well, how can you write for the Idler when they'll also have reviews of restaurants that kind of sell, kind of meat and stuff like that? So, well, but then you're not preaching. It's like about not preaching. You're talking to people outside of the bubble, I think,
Yeah.
which I think is what I really enjoy about writing for the Idler. And, they're always kind of quite bite-sized pieces. So they're not in-depth technical articles, but hopefully it's kind of, I don't like the term getting the message across. That sounds a little bit preachy, but it's not, it's just kind of maybe putting a point of view out there that people might not necessarily otherwise have considered. And that's what I enjoy about the Idler, I think,
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. I mean, I love the work that Tom's done. I've read lots of his books and very funny. And
House to be free and House to be idle. Yeah.
And it's about also, we are the world, right? We are the world. We are the people. And if we're going to spread this message to the world, as much as I love this show and it's fantastic, but there's only some sort of people are going to watch this because it's called Veganic Gardeners Question Time. So some people straight away aren't going to be interested. So by being able to cross over in these different forms of media, I think is vital. Okay, Maestro, please. We have a question. They knew she was going to be on and they asked her. That's Tony again. I think it's question 7, please. There we go. Boom. It's Melissa. She's in lovely Hertfordshire. I have seen that the UK government has recently banned the sale of turkey tails mushrooms. They grow like all wild foods veganically. Yes, because nature is veganic. Julia, I read in your mushroom book about the scientific research and healing benefits of this mushroom. What are your thoughts on this development? Are the UK government stupid, ill-advised, or evil? Well, maybe don't answer the last bit, but I mean, what's going on? They're banning people. They're banning the sale of something that's been used for hundreds, thousands of years, and has got all these scientific benefits about it. Just briefly, please. What's the score?
Well, unfortunately, the government have brought in something called the Novel Food Act, which seems to be their way to cut off our supply for things to improve our health. So the Novel Food Act looks at foods that haven't got references before 1997 in this country, use in this country. Unfortunately, they're now looking at chaga, ashwagandha. They've just recently done turkey tails and cordyceps. So it's... the whole thing about it is laughable because turkey tails grows, as Melissa said in the comments, it grows everywhere in this country and it grows naturally and it's an incredible medicinal support. There are thousands of years of anecdotal evidence about the benefits of both turkey tails and cordyceps. And in Japan and China, in the allopathic medicine, turkey tails is used alongside allopathic cancer treatment. So it's not considered an alternative. It's actually in the mainstream over there. So I think that they have been very ill-advised in the banning of it in this country. But then you look at the Herbalist's Charter of 1542, which Henry VIII brought in. And basically this says that a person should have the rights to treat themselves naturally and those around them. So for me, I'm going to follow that Herbalist Charter of 1542. And that is what I'm going to live by the power of nature that is all around me.
Beautiful. And hear to that. Yes. Because we should be able, oh, there we go. That's hear to that, pineapple. Because we should have access to natural medicines and it should be our choice to be able to access these plants and mushrooms that have incredible health benefits. So good answer there, Juliet. Well, look, I tell you what, guys, we're going to wrap up. The couple of questions, it was Gerald from York. He wanted to know what we're still eating fresh in our gardens. I'm telling you, I'm saying there's 3 apples outside still on the tree. I'm saving them for Christmas Day, Gerald. Mary wanted to know what she could do in her small plot. Thank you, Maestro. What can she do now? I tell you what, it is cold outside, Mary. Why don't you do some sprouting, dear? Okay. So panel, we're going to finish. I would like just to give me like a 30-second. What's your message to the world? What's your message to the Veganic Gardeners Question Time viewers out there? All right. What would you like to see happening in the world? Piers, we'll start with you, please.
Well, one of the easiest ways you can contribute to reducing your carbon footprint and helping the environment is through what you eat. And if you grow it as well, that's even better. So grow veganic to do your bit. And by the way, just to add to that last question, did you know that Boxing Day is the traditional day for growing onion seeds? And I found that sowing seeds rather than sets early in the year is really successful. And I've grown my biggest onions from growing seeds. So Boxing Day.
What great tip there for Mary. Get some onion seeds in on Boxing Day, girl. Graham, what's your message to the world, my friend?
Yeah, we're in, you can't fail to notice we're in quite hard times at the moment. So I think my message is don't give up, like it can feel kind of, the weight of the stuff that's going on at the moment. But there is, there's so many cool projects happening organically. I talked about what you're doing, what Piers is doing. Just kind of look for allies and don't give up. I was going to swear a bit, but I probably won't. But yeah, don't let the grind you down.
Yes, beautiful. Let's keep going, people. And finally, for you, Juliet Bryant.
So for me, it's about having gratitude. Every day, wake up and think about all the amazing things that are going on in your life and in the world. As Graham said, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but the more we focus on that, the more we bring it in. So let's focus on what is amazing. Let's focus on the joy and the beauty and be kind to ourselves and others. I think that's the main thing. If we can live as much as we can in a space of kindness and reciprocity, then that cycle just keeps growing and growing. And it all starts with us, doesn't it? So if we can be kind to ourselves, that kindness will ripple out to the whole planet.
A beautiful message indeed. Well, I would, on behalf of everyone at the Vegan Organic Network, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy time at the solstice, at the Christmas, for the new year. We're going to be back with a show in January, Veganic Gardeners Question Time. Get those onion seeds in, all right? Maybe do some sprouting, Oh, thank you very, very much. Here we go. Good show as always, panel. Thanks for your rich and well composted advice. I do like that one. Yes. and I'm going to expand my compost bin soon. I'm so excited. I'm getting more pallets. Oh, yes. The pension's building. I'm going to make me pumpkin soup. Oh, so have a fantastic time. I'd like to, on behalf of Piers, Juliet, Graham, and Ellen Mary, if you'll sit at home, my darling, get some sage tea. All right. Get some, like I'm drinking here, sage and rosemary and thyme and oregano, and you make yourself a tea and you have a good rest, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Fantastic show. Thank you to Dan, the maestro behind the scenes from the Vegan Organic Network. It is veganorganic.net. Check it out. It's Piers Warren.co.uk. It's spiralseed.co.uk. It's julietbryant.com. I am Giles Bryant from the World Healing Project. God bless you all. Have a fantastic Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy solstice.